Hey everyone, Wolf Lord Rho here. So finally my Emperor's Children box set arrived over the weekend. And of course the first thing I just had to do was dive into the brand new Codex. To see what kind of lore information we've got going on. What perhaps we can learn regarding the status of the Emperor's Children moving forward. And of course that's exactly what we're going to be discussing today. So let's waste no time and just jump straight in. Now, unfortunately, the old school timeline of events page that we used to get in the codexes is still not present, which is a bit of a shame in my opinion, as I used to love checking those out for the little snippets and teases of things that have happened, the mysteries that maybe have arisen. So that's a bit of a disappointment, but not unexpected. And I really hope they make a return in the next edition of 40k. And again, as is the norm for the current codexes, the lore we're given is more general than specific. We don't come away from this knowing exactly what Fulgrim's intent is. If he even has one, that'll be more likely to be showcased in his upcoming novel. However, there's absolutely some important takeaways we still get regarding the Emperor's Children, no doubt. So, first of all, it's really made clear here that the Emperor's Children remain completely fractured as a legion. They are not reformed and resurgent, they are absolutely shattered into the countless warbands they have been since the Scouring. Some absolutely of prestigious power, but all warbands nonetheless. As a result, they aren't bringing the kind of stability and power to the table as many of the other traitor legions we know, a la the Death Guard, Wordbearers and Black Legion for example, at least on the galactic scale. Quite simply, the Emperor's Children are stated here to suffer from their high desires of lust, greed and spite. We learn that Fulgrim alone could bring his legion back together if he wanted to, but as of yet, he's shown no such desire or intention. And on that note, with Fulgrim in particular, we're told how the vast majority of his sons still absolutely idolize him. The Primarch's still the be-all and end-all of their lives. However, his appearances and attention span regarding the Legion is still sporadic at best. Now, of course, this could change when we get to dive into the upcoming novel, which of course I'll discuss once I've been able to read it. But at this point, it really feels like Fulgrim is just being Fulgrim, the Phoenician we've known since he fell to demonhood, or arose to demonhood should we say, appearing to his sons as and when he wants to, satisfying himself with random bouts of carnage and destruction, but nothing more than that, at least not yet. There's no sign of a grand plan or specific goal that the Phoenician may be returning for. And interestingly, there is a special mention of the particular hatred the Iron Hands and the Ultramarines have for the Phoenician, responsible of course for the deaths of both of their Primarchs in the past. Now, the Iron Hands you kind of expect, but I'll admit I was not expecting to see the Ultramarines mentioned here. I mean, Guilliman is back after all. However, maybe that's a little tease there of something to come. Guilliman and the Ultramarines finally getting a rematch of sorts, the rivalry between the two being renewed. It certainly wouldn't surprise me. I mean, you'd expect for sure that Fulgrim will surely be involved in the next big event to come. And moving on, one of the most interesting revelations of this codex for me was actually an omission. with absolutely no mention at all of Eidolon. Eidolon, the Lord Commander Primus of the Emperor's Children, the man who sees the Legion as his own, who has a love-hate relationship with the Primarch, particularly hate, and who leads the Phoenix Conclave, an alliance of the most powerful Emperor's Children warbands out there, who is allied with Abaddon the Despoiler and the Black Legion. We discussed Eidolon a few weeks ago, as I was very interested to see how and if Eidolon was going to be mentioned and handled. And with absolutely no mention of him throughout here, not a single reference that I could see, we can't say for sure, but it certainly feels like he indeed could be remaining steadfast to Abaddon, opposed to Fulgrim truly and completely now. And that could lead to some very interesting storylines indeed, because if Abaddon is allowing Eidolon to ally with him, you would expect any cooperation with Fulgrim to be going out the window. And it's also an impossibility that Fulgrim will be leaving Eidolon alone. There's just no way Fulgrim could not torment his son. So I definitely think we'll see some form of reference to Eidolon in the upcoming novel, surely answering for good just what is going on there. Has he refound his loyalty? Will he be following the Phoenician after all? Or is he indeed completely against his Primarch now, bending the knee to the Despoiler? And how will Fulgrim be feeling about that? Those are questions I fully expect to be answered. And there's also no mention of Fabius Bile either, but that one I don't think is too much of a surprise for anyone. Fabius is very much his own master and outcast from the Legion, so I don't think any of us really expected to see Fabius included here. And overall, I'd say really, other than your standard unit descriptions, that was about it for lore updates. That's all the Codex really tells us so far. So we know the Legion remains completely fractured into warbands, far more so than many of their fellow Traitor legions, which implies we aren't going to see them have a major galactic war effort anytime soon, and that most likely it'll be something far more specific in nature. Fulgrim alone can change that, but as of yet he's shown no sign of doing so, and his appearances appear to remain thus far entirely down to fulfilling his whims and desires alone. And there was a curious omission of Eidolon, the second most powerful figure within the Legion behind Fulgrim himself, so I'm very intrigued on what's going to happen there. Personally, I'm a little surprised Fulgrim's made no effort as of yet to reform the Legion, even at least temporarily for an objective or two. But I guess his still sporadic appearances does perfectly encapsulate the Primarch he's become. Again, I guess the key is going to be in that upcoming novel. Will we be given clues on a specific agenda the Phoenician will want to face and secure? Or is this simply what Fulgrim has become and is going to remain? Perhaps honestly not quite as important in the grand scheme of things as some of his kin, like a Magnus and a Mortarion. I guess only time will tell. And as always everyone, what do you think? Are you surprised by the current status of the Emperor's Children? Or does it all make sense to you? That they indeed remain fractured should be the fate for them. And do you think we'll see the beginnings of Fulgrim changing that anytime soon? And why do you think there was no reference at all to Eidolon within the Codex? Is that a sign he is completely allied to Abaddon now, against the Phoenician? Or will we see Fulgrim forcing him back into line? As always everyone, leave your thoughts in the comments below. A huge thank you to all my subscribers, your support truly means a lot to me, it really does. If you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. And if you enjoyed this particular vid, then why not drop a like on it too. But with that said, I am off.